In a world.
Mate, hold up. We said we're done with the serious intros.
Who said?
Well, we did.
I don't remember that.
Well, I said it, and you're me, so, you know.
Well, I don't care. In a world.
Hey, I told you. We're keeping it light.
You do it on your own then.
Well, technically, I already am. So, anyway. Fuck yeah. Pure wild flight. Get it down ya. How good? Visit nzairsports.com.
I get to do the next one.
Well, obviously, you moron. We both do.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So, I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of the Lunatic Fringe podcast and a smiling face on the other end of the line. Tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you do?
All right, what's going on? Hey, I'm Brian Grubb. I live in Orlando, Florida. I'm a professional water sports athlete. Ride for RedBull, Malibu boats, follow, and yeah, just got my start down here in Florida. Growing up water skiing as a kid, and got into wakeboarding and wake skating. And
I'll tell you what, man. I saw you had either made a comment or just liked one of the reels that I put up with Jeff Provenzano. I saw that, and I hate to say it, but in an Instagram world, the blue check mark sticks out. And so I saw a like or something from you, and I'm like, all right, I got to check this guy out. And I started scrolling through your Instagram, and I, for the life of me, can't figure out what the fuck you don't do, because there is so much shit on there that you do. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the game for a long time, and yeah, just over the years, just, you know, especially through RedBull, like linking up with the Air Force guys, and I got into airsports like through bungee jumping and stuff. So, yeah, I just kind of started doing all this stuff, and one thing led to another, and yeah, now I just kind of dabble in everything.
So what was the real start to it all? I mean, what kind of kicked it off? Because, I mean, nothing that I saw that you're doing out there is by normal standards considered, you know, casual. It's all extreme sports stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got my start down here in Florida in watersports. Yeah, I grew up water skiing as a kid, and then that's kind of when wakeboarding was starting. Got into that, did that through high school, and then I found wakeskating, which was like kind of a new sport at the time, which is basically wakeskating is just, it's like a smaller than a wakeboard, but you don't have boots on it at all, so you're not attached. So it's kind of like skateboarding on water. And that was about the same time in wake that we started building rails, and it started kind of getting like a more like urban feel to it and stuff too. So hitting rails on a wake skate was just super fun. And then riding behind the boat doing all that stuff. And we got it on tour, and for years, like, yeah, we had just an awesome tour, like competing behind the boat and hitting rails and doing winch contests, and lots of crazy stuff over the years. It's been an awesome ride, like kind of taking that sport or being in that sport kind of in the beginning, and
Sure.
then getting it on tour, and just kind of riding it, trying to build the sport and build a career at the same time. So
Sure.
yeah,
Well,
it's been a great run. So
with the wakeboarding stuff, I've actually had a couple of other people that were wakeboarders as well, big time, and I always referenced. I remember years and years ago seeing Parks Bonifay was like the big name in wakeboarding. So I'd imagine somebody like him had to have been quite an inspiration to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Parks and I met when we were like 10 or 11, 12 years old. He was water skiing back at the time, and then he had like one of the best. He's got one of the most iconic wakeboard careers of all time. Him and I are still on RedBull together. That's how I got on RedBull, was hanging with Parks and doing all that stuff. So yeah, he's one of my best friends, and we do a lot of stuff together still. And
it's pretty wild.
He's into all that stuff too. He bungee jumps with us, and he's a skydiver and stuff too. So yeah, we've both kind of followed the same path.
I mean, it was so high profile for such an obscure sport that me, who's not into water sports at all, still to this day know his name. So yeah. I'm sure that I've seen the same stuff you've been doing, because I've watched exhibition after exhibition and competitions that he's been in, that you must have been in right there with him.
Yeah, we got Wakeskating on tour like in 2003, and so yeah, and that was like during the times of like Fuel TV and all that stuff, where action sports was kind of like on a national level here in the US, especially, so yeah, we had a crew called the Pointless Posse. It was like 8 of us, like just friends, that we started filming our own videos and doing that stuff. So yeah, Parks and I have done a lot of crazy stuff together, and yeah, continue to still today.
And now I know that obviously in Florida, water sports is definitely a thing, but it's along the lines of something like skydiving, in that it's not cheap. I mean, it's not expensive, or not inexpensive, to hop on a boat and go, ride a boat around all damn day. So you had to have the family backing you up pretty solidly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my family had boats growing up and stuff. That's how I got into the sports and everything. And then, when my career started, I got signed with Malibu Boats, and I've been with them for over 20 years. So, we have a great deal where they give me a boat to use, and I can use that to teach new people how to ride, and I can train behind it. So yeah, having that boat in the backyard is definitely, in the water sports world, like having a boat sponsor is definitely a key component to, like, continuing your career and making yourself a better rider, and also like getting new people on the water and
Sure.
and getting new people into the sport too.
Now, obviously, your parents allow or get you into something like that. It was big in your family. You had the boats and stuff. But if you're talking about starting at 11 or 12 years old, I'm guessing that your parents weren't thinking, "Oh, this is just what he does forever now." So how did that go over? I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, my parents have always been really supportive of everything I did, and they come to pretty much all my contests, like over the years, even later in life and stuff too. And yeah, they've supported it, in like 100% of the time. And they support everything that I do. And without their, love and support, like, it definitely would have been harder, but like,
Sure.
Yeah, I just kind of fell into it, like we moved to Florida when I was 10, and this is kind of like the mecca of water sports down here, like. So I started working at a pro shop when I was 15, and met all these pros, and, was hanging with Parks, and, trying to hang out with him and ride his coattails to all these contests when he was winning X Games and all that stuff, and I was a judge on tour, like a wakeboard judge on tour. Like, so I traveled with those guys doing that, and then we got wakeskating on tour and stuff. So it's just been an awesome, like, kind of series of events that have, like, led me here. But yeah,
Sure.
Without the support of really great sponsors and family, like, it would have been a lot more difficult.
Now, for a lot of people, they're thinking, well, how is wake skating or wakeboarding an extreme sport? And I suppose I would think the same if I hadn't actually fucked myself up water skiing at one point. But it's pretty damn dangerous sport, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess most people would assume, you're crashing into water, so it doesn't hurt and stuff. But yeah, I mean, wakeboarding especially is pretty dangerous. I mean, pretty much every pro rider's had a knee injury over the years. Wakeskating may be a little safer, but I mean, there's still some serious injuries that go along, and you still slam and stuff too. But
yeah, because I mean, you're hitting rails at some pretty high speeds, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you're riding around, 22 miles an hour behind the boat, and then obviously you're accelerating to like hit the wake and stuff. So yeah, I mean, you're crashing at 25 miles an hour or so. And a lot of times on the wake skate, if you know something's going wrong, you can kick the board away and just kind of land in the water. But on a wakeboard, you're attached to boots, so you catch an edge on one of those, and yeah, those guys slam pretty hard. And now, like, the boat wakes are so big now, like compared to what they were 20 years ago. So guys are going way higher. I mean, wakeboard guys are doing double flips and crazy airs and stuff like that. So yeah, that just kind of intensifies the impacts,
Well,
when you are
sure.
crashing and stuff too. Yeah.
I mean, especially being in the variety of sports that you're into, you must have seen, especially because you've been in it so long, the evolution of bigger is better across all of them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the boats really changed, like probably like around 2012. Like Malibu Boats came out with a system called Surfgate, which kind of turned these wakeboard boats into like surf boats.
Sure.
And so the boats started getting heavier, and we're adding a lot of weight. We've always added a lot of weight to the boats to sink them in and make the wakes bigger and stuff. But now the hulls are deeper, and the boats are just 7,000-pound boats now are making 3-foot wakes. So yeah, you can go a lot higher, and that also makes the crashes better, but it makes it easier to ride too. I mean, you're getting a bigger ramp, and so it's a great thing. But yeah, I mean, these boats are super versatile now. I mean, my Malibu boat at home, I can make a huge surf wave that I can surf on. We do a lot of foil boarding behind the boats now too. Like, so it just makes kind of this like endless wave that you can ride. It's like a personal like wave pool kind of behind
Sure.
the boat. But it also makes the wake skate wakes a lot
Sure.
bigger too, which is great. So I mean,
It's
they
gotta
can
be-
do it all now.
Got to be wild doing competitions and stuff where you know that the audience is not only coming out to see some sick tricks, but they're wanting you to wipe out too.
Yeah, it's funny. Even on like social media, like a lot of the crash clips get more views than the like a new trick or something like that you've been working on for a long time. So
Oh, without a doubt. I
but
mean, nobody goes to a car race to watch cars go around in circles.
exactly, and it's all part of it. Like you got to crash to get better. So I mean, yeah, we're out there. You fall a lot, but yeah, when you do something new or you land something that feels good, I mean, that's kind of the feeling that we're all chasing in all these sports.
Sure. Well, and you seem to kind of be on the cutting edge of a lot of them too. I saw quite a few of the stuff, the images and videos that you have up are of the foil surfing. And I know very little about that. So if you can explain that and kind of what goes into it and where that started to come about.
Yeah, so the foil boarding, kind of like behind the boat and the stuff on slower speeds has only been kind of happening for the last 10 years or so. I mean, the sport was kind of developed or kind of brought to light by Laird Hamilton and those guys in Hawaii. They took an old air chair and cut the seat off, and they were standing out. But they were, the first waves that they were foiling were jaws and all these 50-foot waves, So
Right.
I always say like foiling's kind of been invented in reverse. It's gone from like big wave surfing out in Hawaii to now like, being able to ride behind a boat or paddle into like small waves in the ocean and stuff too. And I got into it like 6 years ago. I got hooked up with Lift Foils, and I think they're the best brand of foils. They make the E-foil. They also make traditional foils. They invented the E-foil, which is like an electric hydrofoil board. So you just
Sure.
put a battery in it, and you can cruise around for hours, out there. And so they just have great equipment, and I just fell in love with it, man. It's like surfing and feels like snowboarding, and it's just like super fast, and there's no drag. And behind the boat, I've learned a lot, just with my background in that space and like those water sports stuff. Like, it's like a training ground out there, but then taking those skills and bringing them to the ocean. And that's like where I really like fell in love with the sport. And
Sure.
I've been going on a lot of surf trips and trying to get in big waves. Like one of my goals is to get barreled on the foil. And so I've been going to Nicaragua a lot, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, like where Lift is based. And yeah, just trying to get in big waves. But foiling's a great sport because there's just so many places you can do it. I mean, you've probably seen like the winging that you can do like in the wind. You can paddle in the ocean, you can tow in the ocean, you can ride behind the boat. And the sport's just like so new that, every day there's clips coming out of people doing new tricks. So kind of like I got into wake skating like really early, like I got into foiling really early too. So it's been really cool, and being part of the progression and yeah, just being a part of a new sport that's growing so much.
Well, and it definitely is very prevalent everywhere. I mean, even where I'm living, I walk across the street and guys are holding blow up sails and they've got a foil board and walk out into the water. Next thing you know, they're cutting across the bay like crazy. I never saw that a few years ago. So it's just amazing watching how quickly, even from someone who's not paying attention, how quickly it's all happening.
Yeah, for sure. And you see a lot of it too. Like a lot of the guys that have gotten into foiling came from another sports background before, like either like water sport, wake guys like us, or surfers, or wind sport guys, kiteboarders and stuff like that. So it's just a great sport for people that are already, into like, these water sports and doing this stuff. They can pick up a foil, and with the skills they already have, they can learn it pretty quickly.
Sure.
And then yeah, like I said, there's just so many different ways to do it. Like I've never been a wind sport guy. Like we're always looking for calm water, to ride behind the boat. But now we're, waiting on windy days too to get out there on the wings and
Right.
do downwinders in the ocean and all that stuff too. So
Do you see a
it's just a
foil
great
as
sport. You can do it every day.
Do you see a foil as the way they'll finally beat down Nazare? I mean, I've watched videos on that wave. It's so choppy and so extreme that it's not actually riding the wave. It's just having your knees not buckle under you.
Yeah, I mean, Laird and Benny and the Hawaiian guys that are on the lift team have definitely been to Nazare, and they've ridden some of the peaks out there. They've put out some amazing videos and some of the drone clips they got, and yeah, you can ride big waves on that stuff. You're kind of, since the wings under the water and the boards off the water, you can get through a lot of that chop, and still have like a smooth ride. But the amount of speed that you can get on a foil is insane. So, you drop in on a 50-foot face like that. I mean, I haven't ridden waves that big yet on the foil, but even riding a 20-foot face, like, you can max out the wing speed like pretty easily. So yeah, it's a lot of like managing your speed and making sure you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time on that stuff. But it's just a great challenge. It's super fun. On the foil, you don't have to like ride in the critical part of the wave where the whitewash is too. You can be like further down the line and still be on a big clean face and have tons of fun. So you can kind of, get in as deep as you want, but
Sure.
you can get a lot of speed to get out of there too, like when the wave starts breaking behind you. So
It's
fun
funny
in 1-foot surf and 50-foot surf. So it's just it's an amazing sport.
It's funny as you talk about it that mentally there seem to be a lot of parallels between that type of stuff and the thought process that goes into my sport and yours as well, skydiving. I mean,
For sure.
having that faster wing that gets you through the garbage a little bit cleaner, and having to have your head on a swivel and knowing where you want to be and how you're supposed to get there, and a lot of parallels. And I'd imagine that's got to be a draw to somebody like you that's kind of gotten his chops in one sport. It must be kind of easy to step over to the next sport because you've already got that mental game.
Yeah, there's a ton of similarities between skydiving and foiling. I mean, man, a lot of my friends in foiling are great skydivers too. And, we talk about, when you're skydiving, your whole body's a wing, and you're using that, especially like in tracking jumps and stuff. And I jump with a lot of the Fly for Life guys up into land, and, when we're talking about how trying to get me to fly better, like they're, kind of telling me like how I should use, the reference between like, how the foil wing works and how I use my body as a wing. They kind of, allude to like, hey, think about what your wing's doing under the water and do that with your body and stuff too. So I can kind of relate to that stuff really easy and everything. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Like I go down to Nicaragua a lot with the guys from Squirrel, and yeah, all the wingsuit guys are getting into it, and a lot of the tracking guys, like the Fly for Life guys, are super into foiling too. So it's a great combination. I get a little coaching from them, and I take them out on the boat at my house and get them on the foils too.
So how did the jumping come about? I mean, you said you were bungee jumping and kind of headed into it that way. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so I was hanging out with Scott Byerly a lot. He's kind of the godfather of wake sports and stuff, and he was friends with the Vertigo Bungee crew up in Washington. So he took me up there like, I don't know, 20 some years ago, and did my first jumps off some bridges up in Washington, and just started hanging out with those guys a lot. And we jumped a lot. They're all from Washington, so we jump a lot of those big bridges up there. And,
Sure.
And got into it. And then in 2007, we went down to the Royal Gorge Bridge down in Colorado. And
Okay.
it's like a 950-foot bridge, 1,000-foot bridge down there. And it was during the Go Fast games, but we got permission to do some bungee jumping down there. So that was like kind of, that's the biggest bungee I'd ever done. It was like 1,000 feet. You're getting like 7, 8, 9 seconds of free fall. So that was the first time I felt like real free fall was, and kind of tracking like on cords, like, out there in 600-foot rebounds. It just kind of like changed my whole life really.
Right.
And obviously that was like a kind of a rare thing to go jump a bridge that big. So I was like, well, man, I guess I need to get into skydiving to feel that. We don't have any bridges in Florida that big or anything. So,
Right.
so yeah, I called up Red Bull and got linked up with those guys, and did AFF with Clamor, and yeah, just started getting into that. Got my license. DeLand's my home drop zone here, so there's just a ton of great skydivers, to kind of learn from up there. And we got to, really, I just really love that drop zone a lot. We go to Sebastian a little bit too, but DeLand's kind of like where I've done most of my jumping, and
Sure.
and yeah, just met a lot of cool people that are professionals in the skydive world, and yeah, and then with the Red Bull Airports guys, with Jeff and Miles and all those guys, like, yeah, just kind of getting to jump with them over the years. It's been an awesome time, and yeah, I still got a lot to learn, and I try to jump as much as I can.
Well, I tell you, I love it that you say you just called up Red Bull for a hookup on where to go skydiving. You realize that not too many people get to do something that fucking cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. I mean, Red Bull is an amazing sponsor, and yeah, I've been all over the world wake skating and foiling and doing projects with those guys, but yeah, they have athletes in every cool fringe mainstream sport in the world. So being able to just call those guys up and ask for some coaching or some help, or to even get into a new sport that I'm interested in. It's just it's an amazing company, and they continue to just do things that are out of this world for athletes.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't think that I haven't hit Jeff up a number of times to hook me up with this Red Bull athlete or that Red Bull athlete, because there's just there's so much exposure now, and Red Bull has become like the pinnacle of extreme sports, and not just extreme, but specifically extreme sports, especially for people like us. And so it's amazing to see how far they've come with all of it. Now, how did you get started with Red Bull?
Yeah, like I said before, I got linked up with Red Bull through Parks. He was like one of the first Red Bull athletes when they came to the U.S. In the late '90s, early 2000s. I got on the team in 2001.
Wow.
Parks had been on for a year or two already. I kind of just met all the guys hanging out with him and stuff. And it was right when Wakeskating was kind of getting started. There was a new magazine that came out called Alliance Wake that year. I won like Rider of the Year on a wake skate, like in a wakeboard magazine, and was just getting a lot of exposure at the time. And yeah, wakeskating wasn't even really a sport yet. It was just kind of something that a few of us were doing, but Red Bull still saw the potential in it, and got me on board. And yeah, this is my 21st season with Red Bull this year, so I've had an amazing run with them. And yeah, we've shot some crazy videos. I mean, some of my biggest projects have gotten millions of views online, and Red Bull is just like, hey, dream big. What's the craziest thing you can think of, and let's try to do it. And there's just no other company in the world that does that for action sports athletes.
Well, that's one of the cool things that I find talking to any of the Red Bull athletes, and I've been lucky enough to meet and get to know quite a few of them, is that everyone says Red Bull goes out of their way to take amazing care of them. Whether it's the trips or the ideas or supporting the crazy stuff and all the different plans they want to make, that Red Bull's just in their corner all the time.
Yeah, they are. I mean, for sure, especially like when you're healthy and you have everything going good, and you're doing well in contests, you're wanting to shoot crazy videos, you're trying to ride in locations that I've never been before, but then like when you get hurt and stuff, they have like the Athlete Performance Center out in Santa Monica. They have all the best surgeons on call if you have a major injury or anything like that. So yeah, they really do take care of us through all the good times and the bad times. And yeah, there's not another company that I can think of that's that proactive, like making sure that we stay healthy and in shape, and we're eating well, and yeah, we're just trying to live our dreams out there and do stuff that's never been done before. That's
the part that really blew me away, because when I had the opportunity to get Jeff on the podcast, he was actually at the Red Bull Center.
Yeah.
Basically saying, look, I know I'm getting older, but I'm fucking fighting it for all I can, and Red Bull's helping me. But I was blown away, because I didn't have any idea that they had those kind of resources that they were offering athletes, because that's unheard of.
Yeah, you don't see that very much or at all, besides Red Bull doing it and stuff too. So it's just it's a great thing to have and kind of know in your back pocket. If something does happen, they're going to take care of you. They're going to make sure you get the best surgeries done. You're going to be able to rehab with the best trainers out in California. I mean, the setup that they have, they just built a new one out there, like in the last year or two out there, called the Athlete Performance Center. And they have an apartment that we can stay in. Like one of my friends, Gunther, is going through an injury right now. And he had surgery. He's been going out there, for a week at a time and just being able to rehab with those guys. And he's recovering so much faster than I think if he was doing it on his own here with just like maybe some local guys. I mean, these guys are the best in the world.
Sure.
In rehabilitation and training. And, even if you're not hurt, you can go out there and just kind of train and get a good program going and get your diet up and just kind of cover all the bases of, trying to stay healthy. I mean, I'm over 40 years old too. And, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. And a lot of that's because of the stuff I've learned from RedBull over the years.
The stories those PTs and doctors have got to have, though. I mean, when it's a bunch of RedBull athletes coming in to get shit fixed.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you get to hang out with a bunch of RedBull athletes, it's a good time. I mean, everyone's, the top of their game and they're just amazing athletes, but they're all really great people too. So it's fun and it pushes you a lot. Like when you're in the gym with them, to really, you don't want to be, the guy at the bottom of the totem pole hanging out with those guys. So
no doubt.
You're trying to push it to the limits like we always are.
Sure. Now, when you got started in skydiving, did you find learning how to jump was an easy thing, or was it a bit of a change up for you?
It came pretty natural to me. Yeah. I mean, I obviously had great instructors and stuff too, but I mean, I didn't have any problems going through AFF or anything. And then, I just kind of messed around with it a little bit, just flying with some friends and stuff. But then really, like getting linked up with the Fly for Life guys and learning how to track. That's like where I really started falling in love with the sport, like going fast, flying in groups. That's kind of like my favorite thing to do in skydiving. And just ran into those guys up into land. And we started, like I said, trading out boat sets for some coaching and stuff like that. But all those guys are just so good in the sky. And even just, trying to keep up with them on tracking jumps, like you just learn so much. And so much of it's just body position and just little things that you can change to make yourself fly better and stuff is pretty cool. So I have a lot to learn in the sport still, but being able to jump with those guys has definitely helped me progress a lot quicker.
Well, we've all still got a lot to learn, man. I've been in the sport 28 years and I still got a fuck ton of stuff to learn. So believe me, we're all in the same boat. Sure. Now, what did the family think when you started jumping out of airplanes? Were they just like, oh yeah, whatever, this is the next thing he's doing, or did that worry him?
My mom's always a little worried about me on everything I'm doing, but my dad's like, my dad was a fighter pilot in the Navy growing up.
Shit.
So he's kind of, so he's, he had a crazy career growing up flying crazy airplanes and stuff like that. So it wasn't too crazy for him and stuff, but I usually tell my mom after the fact when I'm doing something that maybe she'd worry about, send her a video after and not tell her before. So
sure.
But they're super supportive of it. They know I'm pretty careful guy and it might be extreme stuff, but you can take a lot of safety precautions and you just got to trust your gear and double check everything and you can stay pretty safe out there.
Now did I see base jumping on your photos as well?
I've been base jumping for a couple of years now. I did like a first jump course with Sean Schumann out at the bridge and then we have Vertigo has a bridge up in Kentucky that we've jumped a bungee bridge, but it's 240. So we've done some jumps off of that. And then, I was just out with Miles out in Twin Falls a couple weeks ago, getting some jumps with him. And him and I are going over to Switzerland in like 2 weeks to go jump some walls over there, which I'm super excited about. And I got a little RedBull project that we're going to be shooting this fall. That's going to have some base jumping in it and stuff too. So I'm pretty excited about that. So Miles is helping me get trained up for that.
I was just about to ask when you're going to start crossing over sports with RedBull.
I love hanging out with those guys. Like, we get to jump a lot together. They come down for the Fort Lauderdale boat show every year. So we usually go up to Sebastian and meet up with those guys over there. But anytime I can jump with them, I go up to Washington and link up with the guys from Squirrel, Mike and those guys. And the Farringtons have like the drop zone up in Shelton. So we get some jumps up there and do some foil boarding with them.
Nice.
Anytime I can link up with those guys, it's a blast. And they're just super high energy and great flyers and good people. And that's who I want to be jumping with. So
you're wingsuiting as well?
A little bit. I'm not super good in a wingsuit. I've had a couple of crazy flights that didn't go super well, but I do love it. I just need to put more time into it. But I've been flying some tracking suits and a little bit of wingsuiting and most of the skydiving I'm doing is still like doing angle flying and tracking jumps and stuff.
So now you mentioned you're over 40. Do you are you starting to see the end of the tunnel coming up, or is this something that you've been able to manage and take care of yourself to a degree where you've still got God knows how long to go?
Yeah, I don't see myself slowing down anytime soon. You know, if I can stay healthy, I mean, that's obviously the biggest factor in all that stuff. I mean, I haven't had a major injury in a long time, knock on wood, and yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm in kind of the best health I've been in my whole life. You know, fitness is something that I've like come to enjoy a lot, and yeah, it's it makes you feel better. You can tell the difference in, you know, when you're coming off like a travel day or something, you're just feeling like lethargic and down, and you just, you know, go get a good sweat on, and you kind of just feel back to normal. But yeah, staying in shape at my age like is important to keep doing what I'm doing. And but I enjoy, like, you know, the time in the gym and the fitness part of things too, and it's just a great way to stay healthy, to do all the things I love to do.
Sure. Well, and it used to be my image of extreme sports back in the day was it was just all super hardcore doing crazy stuff. And then it was big parties and going hardcore, and fitness seemed to be not really
For
a part
sure.
of it. Now it's completely flipped. Like the people that are partaking in these, in the hardcore extreme sports are guys that are closer to your age that have been doing it for a while and realize you got to fucking take care of yourself if you're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was, yeah, definitely in my 20s and early 30s, like, yeah, that was the scene in pretty much all action sports, you know, like, yeah, it was ride hard all day and then party all night, you know. And yeah, we still like to have some fun here and there, but yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're not healthy and you're not feeling good, it's hard to uh have the physical ability to do these things, and then mentally, yeah, it can kind of take a toll on you too. So,
Sure.
you know, the mental side of all this stuff, like, you got to be in a positive headspace and feeling confident and yeah, not having any doubts on anything that you're doing. So
Sure.
feeling healthy and, you know, eating well and having a good mental headspace is super important for all these sports.
Oh yeah. Now, what's your normal day to day? I mean, what's are you training constantly? Are there competitions all the time? Traveling quite a bit?
Yeah, a lot of travel. I'm on the road like probably over 200 days a year.
Wow.
Between, like, yeah, doing wake events, doing a lot of foil trips lately. We've been going down to, you know, down to Costa Rica and Nicaragua a lot, Puerto Rico, like I said, and yeah, just trying to, yeah, get in the surf more with the foiling. But yeah, I do a lot of trips with Malibu. Like we have this tour called the Just Ride Tour, where we go to like different dealers around the country and teach new people how to ride, or new boat owners like how to use their boats better and stuff. So we travel around on those tours. So I try to get on that tour in places where I can, you know, go do other stuff too, like try to get up to Washington and, you know, link up with the bungee guys, or, you know, go do some jumping up there with those guys, or
Sure.
yeah, just try to connect my trips, you know, into areas that I can do other stuff like while I'm there, or before or after the trip too. So, but yeah, I mean, after you know, the crazy couple years we had with COVID and all that stuff, and not being able to travel as easily, like, yeah, I've just been full on pedal to the metal the last, you know, 2 years, just trying to travel while we can
Sure.
and take advantage of all the opportunities out there for us.
Sure. Now, are you doing coaching and teaching people how to do all these sports as well?
Yeah, we do a lot of coaching in water sports. I mean, that's how you get new people into the sport, and you know, getting people behind the boat is really important. We have a lot of cable parks and stuff too, so that's like a good way to, like, for people to get into wake. It's kind of like a ski mountain. Like, you buy a lift, or you buy like a ticket basically to ride around these cable parks, and that's like where a lot of the rails are and stuff like that. So that gets a lot of people into the sport. But I really focus mostly on the boat side of things, and working with Malibu boats to try to, you know, teach new people. We have like an initiative called Pass the Handle. It's like a day in June actually coming up, where they encourage everyone in water sports to like take someone on the boat that's never been on the boat and teach them usually how to wake surf. That's kind of like the easiest thing to teach people. And yeah, with some good instruction, you can teach someone that's never done it how to get up and drop the rope and ride without the handle, you know, in like maybe one session or two sessions. And yeah, if you can teach someone that, it can, you know, maybe change their life, like it was like when I took my first, you know, lesson back in the day and got into wakeboarding and stuff like that too. So it's really important to our sport to, yeah, get new people in, and new families, you know, that are buying boats to spend time with their kids and stuff. It's a great sport, and it's a very family friendly environment. And yeah, there's really nothing better than, you know, being on the lake with your friends and family in the summertime.
I was going to say, you kind of painted a picture that sounds like it's got a lot of parallels to the skydiving community in that you're always looking for new people to play with, and it's a very welcoming community, even to those that aren't participating in the sport, even just the spectators.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, a lot of people, maybe see wakeboarding through the contest or through I guess now like social media videos and stuff like that. But it really starts with the family environment. That's how I got into the sport. Just growing up with a boat. Like every weekend we were on the boat with the family and yeah, and messing around with different boards and different sports and stuff like that. But that's kind of the grassroots level. And yeah, you do see that in skydiving a lot too. Like especially in DeLand, they do a lot of AFF up there. There's a lot of new jumpers that come in and yeah, everyone that's doing these sports are cool, and
Yeah.
it's fun to teach people new stuff and get people to, push their boundaries and learn new things and stuff too. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of similarities between the two.
I'm guessing you've seen a huge change in the sports, or a huge influence, I should say, in the sports because of social media, I would imagine.
Yeah, for us, it's changed a lot. I mean, to be like to come into the sport, a long time ago, like when magazines were like the biggest media form. We were waiting for that next mag to come out, and we were making money through photo incentives, trying to get shots, working with photographers and stuff. And yeah, and most of those magazines are gone now in our sports. Fuel TV is gone. Like that was always like having wakeboarding be a part of that action sports culture back when Fuel TV was on. Like everyone that was watching action sports TV back then saw our stuff on there too, even though like wakeboarding was obviously smaller than skateboarding and snowboarding and stuff like that. But we were part of that crew and part of those shows and stuff. So that definitely propelled a lot of us riders at the time, like to higher levels in the action sports world and more followers and stuff going into the social media part of the sports that we're in now. So it was good to be a part of that and go through that. But now, I mean, yeah, everything's changed. Like, yeah, we're kind of responsible for building our own media and yeah, trying to work with sponsors to shoot videos and then once we shoot those videos, you got to have a place to let them live too. So a lot of that stuff is on the athlete now or with the sponsors that you're working with too. So
yeah, for sure.
It's changed a lot, but yeah, you just kind of have to adapt to where the media is going and yeah, just continue to show people the cool shit we're doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Fuel TV, and it would be one of those things that you'd have on, and you'd watch what you intended to watch. That would end. You'd turn around to do something else and look back, and some other cool thing would be on, because it was always really fast. It was moving quite quickly through each and every one of the sports, and I guarantee that's how I saw wakeboarding for the first time. That's how I know Park's name. It was probably on Fuel TV. I saw him do something fucking insane looking, and went, "Okay, shit, I got to sit and watch this." So it was cool, but now you're right. It's on you guys and on sponsors to really make it all available, which can be tough because there's so much stuff out there now. To stand out can be really difficult. Do you guys find that is there a pressure in the boating stuff and in the wakeboard and wake skating stuff, a pressure to really keep shit out there, or is there already enough of an audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy to entertain the audience that already follows you, for sure.
Sure.
I mean, they're already following you, they see your videos and stuff. But I think the hardest part now is to reach people that are outside of your circles. To try to get people that maybe aren't into wake sports specifically, but to see your videos. And RedBull is really good about that. Obviously, they're an international platform that promotes all of our sports and stuff. But yeah, trying to reach that non-endemic viewership is definitely harder, but that's kind of the goal. You're trying to reach other people and show people what you're doing out there. But that's kind of the challenge. And yeah, sometimes that's a crash video or something that you might not think is super cool, but people that can't relate to the technical stuff you're doing, but can relate to a big crash or something.
Absolutely.
that looks cool. Like that's sometimes like what gets people's attention and brings them in and gets a follow.
Well, I'm always shocked at what goes viral and what doesn't. Some of the stuff that I've put online that I thought was just going to be incredible, absolutely no one watches, and some dumb shit that I just posted, without a thought, just it gets crazy views. And it's got to be tough too. Again, the view of extreme sports has changed quite a lot because obviously things keep getting more and more extreme. And when you're watching somebody like Fred in the RedBull Air Force flying down a ski slope just above the chairlift, it's, I'd imagine, kind of tough for a kickflip to compete with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's so much crazy content out there. I mean, every day, like there's a crazy video that kind of goes viral, at least through the channels that I watch and stuff like that. But that's also inspiring for all of us too,
Yes.
like seeing what these guys are doing. And sometimes the hardest part is coming up with an original idea or something that that you like didn't think of at the time, but then you see something and it makes you think of something else, and then you can go out and try that too. So I mean, I love watching all those videos and all the different sports, from snowboarding to air sports to everything that's kind of like on the RedBull channels and all
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff too. So it's
Well,
it's awesome. I mean, it's
having
cool.
talked to Jeff when I referenced one of the stunts that he put up, and it was him swooping the cranberry ponds. And I asked him how he came up with it. It's because he got inspired by wakeboarding, which is fucking cool.
Yeah, that was a cool project. Yeah, I mean, we did that like 10 years ago. We went up and wake skated in the cranberry bogs up in northern Wisconsin, and for us it was amazing. Like to ride through that stuff on a board, it was like one of the coolest feelings ever. Like it was like when you're even just doing like a big spray, when you're pushing all those cranberries, it's like the water is way heavier, so it was just like a crazy feeling for us. And yeah, we had an awesome trip up there, and we put out a pretty cool video. And then
Yeah.
Jeff sees our stuff because we follow each other, and he had a great idea to go swoop those ponds. So he called me up and was like, "Hey, can you get me in touch with those guys?" And I sent them the guy's number, and they were talking, 20 minutes later, and they set it up. I mean, those guys are awesome up there. They love what we did with the wake skating stuff, and so they
Yeah.
totally supported Jeff, like coming up there to swoop too. So
Oh yeah. It was so
yeah,
funny
that's
because
just like a great crossover for everybody.
he said he had reached out to you, and you're like, oh yeah, that's Farmer Ted or whatever his name was. Here's his number, man. Call him. He'll hook you up. And he was so genuinely happy and excited to do something that he was inspired by in a completely different sport. And now obviously this is the link up, so it kind of comes full circle. But it was really, really cool to watch that. And then because of him, I went back and watched some of the stuff that you guys did, and it just
cool.
looked like you guys were having a blast, which ultimately is the most fun I have with regard to extreme sports, is seeing how much the athletes are getting out of it at the time. And you guys clearly were having fucking fun.
Yeah, we had a blast, and like, I mean, like I said, like, we just kind of came up with that idea and made it happen. But yeah, when you get there and you're kind of in the mix, like, I mean, it's a crazy feeling. I mean, all these sports that we're doing, we're just kind of chasing that feeling of like, I don't know, just like kind of like that, I guess that flow state, or like just like that feeling like where you're just completely zoned out and just like in the moment, and everything just feels good, and you're kind of just like going through the motions and either riding your board or flying your canopy or whatever it is,
Sure.
So to do it in I can go out in my backyard and ride every day, and it's fun and everything. But when you can take those same skills to a different place or a different location, or get with a great film crew to like kind of capture it in a different way or something, that's like where it becomes like really special. And those are the
Sure.
moments that you really live for and that you remember.
Well, and then you have the opportunity also to share your passion with people that would otherwise never see it. And I've had a small taste of that when I've done demos and such. And you watch the faces of little kids or audience members that just watched you come in on a normal canopy landing in the middle of a pretty large field, but they're just losing their shit over it. And you start to realize, oh, that's right, what I do is not normal. It's not day to day.
Right.
They haven't seen this before. I would love to know what that farmer was thinking the first time somebody approached him and said, hey, can we wakeboard in your cranberry pond?
Yeah, he probably didn't know what wakeboarding was or anything, but yeah, I mean, for him, like, he had like the perfect little playground for us. And those guys, I mean, yeah, they're farmers. They're just trying to do their jobs and stuff. So to
Sure.
have us come up there, I mean, yeah, they had a blast like hanging out with us, and I'm sure they had a great time with Jeff watching him swoop through there. So I think it's kind of cool for everybody. And then we shoot a cool video that the whole world can see too. So
Without a
I mean,
doubt.
yeah, I think it's positive for everyone for sure.
Now, as we wrap things up, I want you to tell people how they find out about your sponsors and how to track them down, how they can talk to you about potentially coaching, coming out for some of these events, social media, all that stuff.
Yeah, so my main social media is Instagram. My handle is Brian K. Grubb on there. I don't do YouTube or any of that stuff, but I got a lot of stuff on RedBull TV. I work with an app called Adventure.io, where you can link up with me personally for e-foil demos and going out on the boat, and we do some like bungee training and stuff on there too. So that's a good way if you want to come ride with me and get behind the boat. You can just find me straight on there, and if you're in Central Florida and you want to come out on my boat and learn some stuff on there or go for an E4 ride, you can sign up straight through that app too. So that's a good place to find me as well.
Nice. And for all the skydivers that are listening to a skydiving podcast, they can come jump with you in DeLand.
Yeah, I'll be in DeLand for sure. Yeah, every time I'm home, I'm definitely up there a couple days that I'm here. So yeah, come get some jumps up there too with us. That'd be great.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to see the crossover stuff, man. If you find a way to get wake skating and skydiving and all that shit together, I fucking can't wait to see it.
Yeah, we're working on some cool stuff. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some videos for you guys soon.
Cool. Well, we'll be checking back in, man. Hey, I really appreciate you taking the time, man. You have yourself a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on.
Take care. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.